Welcome to the shadows. Old stories line the shelves of our dusty archives. Stories of dreams, mystery, H.P. Lovecraft alcove. Deathly vapors seem to rise from this aged box of tape. It contains a story called The Rats in the Walls. The restoration of Exham Priory had been a stupendous task. For little had remained of the deserted pile but a shell-like ruin. But because it had been the seat of my ancestors, I let no expense deter me. The place had not been inhabited since the reign of James I, when a tragedy of intensely hideous, though largely unexplained nature occurred. It appeared that my ancestor was accused, with much reason, of having killed all the other members of his household in their sleep. This deliberate slaughter, which included his father, as well as 3 brothers and 2 sisters, was strangely condoned by the villagers and slackly treated by the law. With this sole heir nevertheless legally denounced as a murderer, the estate had reverted to the crown. Walter de la Power fled to the United States, where, by the end of several generations, the family had achieved a proud and honorable, if somewhat reserved and unsocial, Virginia line. After the Civil War, the family moved north. I emerged and grew to manhood, to middle age, and to ultimate wealth within the grayness of a Massachusetts business life. I traveled, eventually to England, eventually to Anchester, eventually to the ancient family seat, Exham Priory itself. A jumble of tottering medieval ruins, covered with lichen, perched perilously upon a precipice, denuded of floors and other interior features save the stone walls and the separate towers. The priory had been allotted to the estate of the Norris family by the crown. And now, 3 centuries later, I purchased the ruin for a surprisingly reasonable figure, and resolved to divert my remaining years by restoring my ancestral home. I had secured the interest, assistance, and the friendship of Captain Norris, whose knowledge of the place had been increased through the years by his having accompanied the many architects and antiquarians who loved to examine the strange relic.
Mind your foot on that big stone over there. The architecture, you see, is peculiarly composite. Gothic towers resting over there on Saxon or Romanesque substructure. The foundation is of a still earlier order, blend of orders, I suppose, Roman or even Druidic or native Cymric, if legends speak truly. And merged on the one side, you see, down here, with the solid limestone of the precipice.
Amiable Captain Norris. The place and its ancestry had an almost consuming fascination for him. He knew every detail of its history and its former structure, and became of inestimable help in the reconstruction.
The priory itself actually stands on the site of a prehistoric temple.
Yes.
A druidical or anti-druidical thing which must have been contemporary of Stonehenge at dates like that.
Well, it's unfortunate that our neighbors aren't all antiquarians such as you, Captain Norris. I had not been in Anchester a day before I knew I came from an accursed house.
Oh, yes, the country folk around here have their own sense of tradition, I'm afraid. They hated the priory hundreds of years ago when your ancestors lived here. And they hate it now, with the moss and mold of abandonment on it. We'll have to go outside of the immediate vicinity for our workers. You see, it isn't so much hatred as the almost unbelievable fear they have of the place. And the scope appears to include both the priory and, I'm afraid, its ancient family.
Yes, I don't seem to be able to convince the villagers how little I know of my heritage.
Oh, but to them a lineage is beyond a matter of knowing. It's in the bone and blood itself. Yes. I'm not sure I disagree. But what do we see? After 3 centuries, a power has returned to its ancient site to reconstruct the very house. And for the villagers, you've come to restore a symbol abhorrent to them.
Oh.
Rational or not, you know, they view Exham Priory as nothing less than a haunt of fiends and werewolves.
Captain Norris. Superstitions, ghosts, and goblins.
Oh, no, not quite that.
You share their worries, nevertheless.
Well, so would you, Power. It's not a matter of the present. It's not all superstition. This is an ancient place, Power. That indescribable rites had been celebrated here, no one doubts. Rites of the Cybele worship. Now, mind that stone there. You know, the people didn't need any walls to keep them out. They were too frightened of the place altogether. It was never destroyed by the Danes, oddly enough. After the Norman conquest, it must have declined tremendously. There was no impediment when Henry III granted the site to your ancestor, Gilbert de la Poer, he was called then, first Baron Exham in, I think, 1261.
Yes, well, then it's the location, the house, not the family that inherits the bad name.
Well, they became aligned, you see, and not, so far as we know, unwillingly. True, before their occupation, the family bore no evil report, but something strange must soon have occurred. You know, in one chronicle, there's a reference to a de la Poer as cursed of God. It's a strange phrase. Village legendary had nothing but evil and frantic fear to tell of the castle. The fireside tales were of the most grisly description. All the... Mind your head, darling.
Yes.
All the ghastlier because of their frightened reticence and cloudy evasiveness. I'm afraid they represented your ancestors as a race of hereditary demons.
But what precisely happened, Norris? What went on?
Well, there are the vaguer tales. Hackneyed spectral lore, perhaps. Wails and the usual howlings heard around the place. Graveyard stench after the spring rains. A few of the tales were exceedingly picturesque. For instance, the belief that a legend of bat-winged devils kept witches' Sabbath each night at the Priory, a legend whose sustenance must explain the disproportionate abundance of coarse vegetables harvested in the gardens. But most vivid of all, there was the dramatic epic of the rats.
The rats?
Yes, the scampering army of obscene vermin which had burst forth from the castle a couple of months after the tragedy that doomed the place to desertion. You know, a lean, filthy, ravenous army which had swept all before it and devoured fowl, cats, dogs, hogs, sheep, and, you know, even 2 villagers before its fury was spent.
Yes, and that was just 3 months after Walter de la Poer had murdered his family and fled to Virginia.
Yeah, yes, I should say about that.
You know, one thing puzzles me about that murder. Walter de la Poer must have known for years the sinister tales about his family. I can scarcely conjecture what discovery could have prompted an act so terrible. What had he witnessed or stumbled upon?
Oh, take this path downhill.
Yes.
The general whispered sentiment seems to have been that he purged the land of a memorial curse.
Such was the law that assailed me as I began, with an elderly obstinacy, the work of restoring my ancestral home. When the task was done, over 2 years after its commencement, I viewed the great rooms with pride. Wainscoted wall, vaulted ceiling, mullioned window, broad staircase. All there, all as it had been. The new parts blended perfectly with the original stone walls and foundations. The interior of the old house was, in truth, wholly new, and free from old vermin and old ghosts. The first incident occurred 6 days after I moved into the priory. That night, dispensing as usual with a valet, I retired to the West Tower chamber, which I had chosen as my own. The room was circular, very high, and without wainscoting, the stones being hung with tapestries. I did not draw the curtains, but gazed out at the narrow north window, which I faced from the canopied four-poster. At some time, I must have fallen quietly asleep, for I recall a distinct sense of leaving strange dreams. As I awoke, I found myself looking intensely at a point on the wall, a point to which my eye had nothing to market, but toward which all my attention was directed. Whether the tapestry actually moved, I cannot say. I think it did very slightly. But what I can swear to is that behind it I heard a low, distinct scurrying, as of mice or rats. Then it was gone. Some sort of effect of echo, perhaps, coming from some other area of the house. There was no need of my looking behind the arras, for the walls were of solid stone, several feet thick. It was a while before I could drift back to sleep, and I seemed directly to re-enter my earlier dream, except that this time the vision was clearly, horribly before me. I seemed to be looking down from an immense height upon a twilit grotto, knee-deep with filth, where a white-bearded demon, a swineherd, drove about with his staff a flock of fungus beasts, whose appearance filled me with unutterable loathing. Then, as the swineherd paused and nodded over his task, a mighty swarm of rats rained down on the stinking abyss and fell to devouring beast and man alike. But suddenly I was awake, wide awake. On every side of the chamber the walls were alive with nauseous sound, the verminous slithering of ravenous, gigantic rats. I could see a hideous shaking all over the tapestry. But the motion disappeared almost at once, and the sound with it. I sprang out of bed and tore aside the arras to see what lay beneath it. Nothing but the patched stone wall. I stepped out of the room and stood for a moment at the head of the great ancient stairway, listening to the house. I could hear them. I could hear them faintly at first, but coming from all the walls. And as I descended, the stampeding continued with such force and distinctness that I could finally assign to their motions a definite direction. These creatures, in numbers apparently inexhaustible, were engaged in one stupendous migration from inconceivable heights to some depth inconceivably below.
Rats?
When I questioned the servants, they said they heard nothing. I didn't want to alarm them by insisting. No, I wasn't dreaming, Norris. It was no dream.
But there have been no rats at the Priory for 300 years. Even the field mice couldn't be found in these high walls.
Wherever would they be found in walls of solid stone?
You say they were headed downward.
Captain Norris helped me explore the subcellar, but absolutely nothing untoward was found. We could not, however, repress a thrill at the knowledge that this vault was built by Roman hands.
You see up here, it's not the debased Romanesque of the bungling Saxons, but the severe and harmonious classicism of the age of the Caesars. Look here at these inscriptions. Diem temp dona Lucius Praecius pontificatus. What is it? Etis. Yes. Etis.
The reference made me shiver, for I had read Catullus and knew something of the hideous rites of the Eastern god, whose worship was so mixed with that of Cybele.
Look, hold your lantern up here. No, not that one. By this stone block here.
Oh, yes, I see.
Yes, you see the design cut into it? A sort of rayed sun? That's not Roman. No, that's not Roman at all. It's of an earlier origin. These altars had merely been adopted by the Roman priests from some older, perhaps aboriginal temple on the same site. Come down here. Let's have a look down here.
Norris and I determined to pass the night in the crypt, and couches were brought down by the servants. We retired with the lanterns still burning, to await whatever might occur. The vault was very deep in the foundations of the priory, and that it had been the goal of the scuffling and unexplainable rats, I could not doubt. But why? Why? As we lay there expectantly, I found my vigil occasionally mixed with half-formed dreams. I saw the twilit grotto and the swineherd, the fungus beasts wallowing in filth. They seemed nearer and more distinct. I could almost observe their features. Beasts, but not exactly beasts. They became more distinct as I watched, looking up at me. Terrifying. Norris, wake up, Norris. Wake up.
What is it, Father? What's wrong?
Did you hear them? Did you hear them, Norris?
What?
The rats!
Rats? I heard nothing at all.
Still downward. They were going still farther down.
No.
There are cellars below us, Norris.
Cellars?
Norris, was it hallucination? Was it madness? Why have they stopped? Why is it silent now?
Perhaps you've been shown what certain forces wish to show you.
They were headed downward. In this altar, see, Norris? The lantern flickers at the crevice here between the altar and the floor. There must be some kind of...
By Jove!
There must be some way of descending, some door, some kind of entrance.
Balanced by some sort of counterweight, I expect. You see? Look here, look. Yes. The entire stone pivots aside. By Jove! There's your cellar power.
A horror. Stone steps descended into an abysmal dark, but scrawled across them as far as we could see, skeletons, attitudes of panic fear all over them, the marks of rodent gnawing, a ghastly array of human or semi-human bones, cretinism, semi-apedom. We descended the hellishly littered steps.
Horrifying, but extraordinary. Look here. Out through solid rock. Notice the strokes here. Look, according to the direction of them, this passage must have been chiseled from beneath upward. No? Look at that. You notice the air? There's a cool movement of air, probably some fissure in the cliffs above. Yes, look, Pa, the stairway ends here. There's light filtering down from somewhere up here. I can't quite see it, but... Hey, it must be morning outside. You know, almost enough light to see. It's a sort of grotto. Enormous. You can just barely...
The descent from reality had almost prepared me for what was to come. Norris, when I reached him, stared out with a look resembling that of the skulls at his feet. Then I followed his eyes over the subterranean world before us. Dear God.
We must not underestimate the archaeological importance of such a discovery as this.
The Twilight Grotto was of enormous height and stretched farther than any eye could see. There were buildings and other architectural remains. In the center, a circle of monoliths, but dwarfed, everything dwarfed by the spectacle on the ground. An insane tangle of bones, human or nearly so. Like a foamy sea, they stretched postures of demonic frenzy, either fighting off some menace or clutching other forms with cannibal intent.
Yes, the skulls suggest a rather baffling mixture. Mostly lower in the scale of evolution than Pithecanthropus, but in every case definitely human. Actually, some of them seem to be supremely and sensitively developed types.
Horror upon horror.
All the bones gnawed.
Altars serving as butcher shop and kitchen.
Mostly by rats.
Cauldron. Dining table.
Not all by rats, my Gerbil.
Goblets brown-stained and dried. Horror upon horror.
Notice the stone pens over here, for the keeping of herd, I expect, and out of which they must have broken in their last delirium of hunger or rat fear. Herds of some primordial human type. That's fascinating. And there are rows of cells, nearly rusted through. Their tenants still locked inside.
And on the bony forefinger of one, a seal ring with my own coat of arms.
Strange ideographic carvings here on some of the skulls. Here. Look at this, Pa. You know, I believe they're Phrygian in origin. Cases of formally arranged bones with parallel inscriptions in Greek and Latin.
Still downward, I could hear them. Where else could they draw me? Across the grotto, carrion pits of sawed bones, picked bones, open skulls, nightmare chasms, unhallowed centuries grinning their unnameable fancies. Then to the edge of a depth hideously foreshadowed by my dreams.
An apparently boundless depth. Power, there's no end to it. A great mouth lined with human debris. Spewing, swallowing, yawning out from the primordial. Power, stay out of it, man.
The rats, questing new horrors, determined to lead me on. I ran, following them. I heard voices, echoes, but above all that insidious scurrying. I felt them all around me. I was one of them, part of the ravenous army that feasts on the living and the dead. Well, why shouldn't rats eat a dill of power, as a dill of power eats forbidden things? No, I am not that demon in the Twilight Grotto. It's not Nari's body I tear apart. It's not blood I feast upon, and flesh. You faint and fear at what my family do. Bloodhouse, I'll learn you how to cross. World is wine can be filled wide. Magna Mater, That is what they said. I said when they found me in the blackness, over the half-eaten body of Captain Norris. Now they have blown up Exham Priory and shut me into this barred room at Hanwell. Accuse me of a hideous thing, But they must know that I did not do it. I did not do it. They must know it was the rats. It was the rats whose scampering will never let me sleep. The demon rats that race behind the padding of this room and beckon me down to greater horrors than I have ever known. The rats, they can never hear. The rats in the wall.
The Rats in the Walls by H.P. Lovecraft. Adapted and produced by Eric Bauersfeld, with technical production by John Whiting. Bernard Mays was heard as Captain Norries. Eric Bauersfeld was de la Parr. Special production for this program was by Jim McKee. Well, that's all for now. Come and visit our archives again for another tale from the shadows. Real soon.
Out of the dark of night, from the shadows of the senses, comes this, the fantasy of fear. Nightmare, starring as your exciting guide to terror, Peter Lorre.
Sleep is an interesting thing. Of course, you are aware that the eye of the mind never closes in slumber. It never tires of seeing things, thoughts, and ideas. Some of these things seen by the mind are in turn caught by the memory. And we awake with a start. Did it really happen, or was I dreaming? And sometimes you're never sure. There is Jeff, who awoke one morning from a somewhat fitful sleep, awoke to find that he was a very unhappy man, and he searched to find a reason for that unhappiness in those first moments of waking. And the weight of worry and suspicion fell upon his shoulders like a well-tailored coat.
You are listening to Peter Lorre tell you of The Hollow Footsteps, another transcribed story of Nightmare.
Now, about this man, Jeff Martin, really very ordinary fellow, and no more. But that reaches down into the crevices of the soul. I wonder just what could be causing all this sudden distress. Yeah, it's almost like a man who's being followed, huh? Let's find out.
Jeff?
Huh?
The new cinemascope is playing at the Grand. Like to see it this week? Would you, Jeff?
What did you say, Ellen?
You didn't hear a word I said.
I'm sorry, dear.
Jeff, what's the matter?
I don't know.
If you ask me, you're coming down with one of those viruses.
Yeah.
Why don't you run around to Dr. Parsons?
Yes.
Tomorrow?
Yes.
Promise?
I promise, Gloria.
Good, because I think... What?
I said I promise.
You said Gloria.
Huh?
You said, I promise Gloria.
No, I
She's
didn't.
in your mind again, isn't she?
No.
She's in your mind again.
Ellen.
You can't forget her. You just never forget
Ellen, it
it.
was only a slip, please. Ellen.
Slip, you're always making a slip. Always that same slip.
It always doesn't happen often anymore.
It couldn't happen at all.
I'm sorry, Ellen.
She's in your mind, isn't she?
Yes.
Get her out, Jeff.
I will, dear.
Where are you going?
Out for a walk. Maybe drop in, see Sam.
Sorry, I've lost my temper, Jeff.
It's all right. Try it again. You've got to find out. You've got to make sure. There they are. There she is. Don't turn your head. Faster. See? She's following you. Just slow down now. The store window. Now look. Turn your head slowly. Look carefully. Now. There she is, up the street. Get closer, Jeff. Get closer this time. Now. She's going away. Don't let her go away. Catch her now. Come here. Gloria. Gone. Thanks.
Now, what's it all about?
Nothing, Sam. I'll be all right.
Look, Jeff, I'm your friend.
I know.
I don't want to pry, but if there's something the matter, some way I can help.
Sam, thanks.
Well, I'm listening.
Did you ever think you were being followed?
Followed? What do you mean?
Well, I mean, did you ever have the feeling that somebody was following you?
Now, Jeff, after all.
I told you you'd think I was
I didn't say anything like that. Wait a minute, will
I'm
you?
sorry.
Matter of fact, I've experienced that feeling at times. I think everybody has.
Think so?
Yes, I do.
You got another drink?
Sure. Something that doesn't amount to anything. You're sure doing a lot of drinking about it.
I'll be all right.
Well, how's Ellen these days?
Ellen? Ellen's fine. Oh, which reminds me, I better get back. I told her I wouldn't be long. Thanks for the drink, Sam.
Don't mention it.
I left my coat here someplace.
Yeah, here it is.
Oh, yeah.
Look, you want some company on the way home? I could use some air.
Huh? Yeah. That's an idea. Walk back with me, Sam. That's a good idea.
Well, I think you'll be all right, Jeff. Probably just nerves, like you said, working too hard, that's all. You ought to slow down.
Yeah, maybe.
Lots of people have feelings like this every once in a
But it's
while.
so real.
Huh?
It's so real. It seems so real when she comes.
She? Who?
The woman.
Oh, see, you're being followed by a woman. Yeah, let's see what you're so worried about. If you take my advice.
Wait a minute, wait. You hear?
Hear what?
Listen.
I don't hear a thing.
Walk a few steps. You hear her? She's there behind us.
Jeff, I can't.
Turn around, quick. There she is. There she goes around that corner.
I'll get her. You wait here.
You saw her, Sam.
I can't understand it.
What's the matter?
I just can't understand it.
What, Sam? What?
She was gone. No place to go. No place to hide.
Gloria.
What?
I saw her face this time. It was Gloria.
Gloria?
But it can't be, Sam. It couldn't be, could it? Gloria's dead. Been dead for 15 years.
You see, now you have part of the answer. Jeff is being followed. And by a woman. Well, a man should not mind too much if he's being followed by a woman. There's no such thing as an uninteresting female. Women are so, what is the word? Let's see, where was I? Oh, yes. So, Jeff Martin is being followed by a woman. Being followed till he finds himself trapped in a living nightmare. Now, let's see. Where were we? Oh, yes. There must be a reason why some strange female is so interested in him. Hey, I know of a way to stop that woman's constant pursuit. You know, women are always so fond of pretty kerchiefs. Yes, but why would a woman follow such a plain man as Jeff Martin?
You better see a doctor.
You don't believe me, do you?
Believe you? How could I? There just aren't any things like ghosts. You know that as well as I do.
No, I don't.
You do. I know you do. It's just that you're upset, that's all. You're upset and you won't face what's really upsetting you, and so you think of...
That's not true, Ellen. I know it's not true. Because I'm being followed by a ghost.
Jeff.
She's back, Ellen. She's come back to haunt me.
Who, Jeff?
Gloria.
You're thinking of her again. You just won't let her alone, will you? You won't let her be dead. You have to keep thinking about her, reminding yourself about her and reminding me.
That's not it, Ellen.
Don't tell me what's true and not true. Staring us in the face, Jeff. You still love her. You want her back.
Ellen, please.
You can't have her back. You hear that? You can't have her back. She's dead. She's dead, Jeff. She's dead, and the dead don't come back.
Ellen, please. Ellen.
Oh, I'm sorry. I lost control. Won't happen again. How can I be jealous of it?
Follows me on the street.
Please, Jeff.
Ellen, it's true.
Please, Jeff, I don't want to hear any more about it. Please. Phone's ringing.
Huh?
Phone.
Oh, I'll get it. Hello?
Jeff. Hello,
Who is this?
Jeff.
Who is this?
Jeff, darling.
Who is this?
Jeff? Jeff, what's the matter?
Nothing.
Who was it? Who was on the phone?
Gloria. It was Gloria.
Jeff, stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Ellen,
Listen, it was Gloria. She's come back.
Stop it! Don't tell me it was Gloria. Or Gloria's ghost. Ghosts don't use the telephone, Jeff. They don't have
Listen to me,
I'm
Ellen.
through listening. Why you're doing this to me, Jeff? I don't know why, but I won't take it much longer.
Ellen.
I'll leave. Do you hear? I'll leave you, Jeff.
I don't know. Why don't you try him? He's a medium, something like that? No, not exactly. I wouldn't call him a medium. He deals with the same problems, but he approaches them from different angles. He's a scientist, Jeff. Very scientific. No phony. I think he'd be able to help. I think so.
But there aren't any such things as ghosts, Sam. I know it. I know there can't be ghosts.
Then what's the explanation?
I don't know. You think there are ghosts, Sam? Do you believe in them?
Well, let's put it this way. I don't disbelieve. Remember what Shakespeare said? There's stranger things in heaven and earth?
Yeah.
You want to see Cole? I can set up an appointment.
All right, I'll try anything once. I have to do something.
It's expensive.
Money doesn't matter, Sam. Nothing matters now but my peace of mind, my marriage. I've got to do something. Tell Cole I'll see him. The same. Always been the same. Footsteps following me. But when I turn around, she's there just for a second. I see her, and then she's gone.
You've tried to follow her?
Yes. Never successfully. She just seems to disappear into thin air.
I see. And she's called you on the phone?
Yes.
You recognize the voice?
No mistake.
I see. Obviously an electrophonic ectoplasmic phenomena.
What's that?
Well, you needn't understand the terms. Ghost is good enough.
What can I do? Well, Cole, what can I do?
We mustn't rush it. This requires careful consideration.
Will you take the case?
Well, I'm not sure yet.
But you've got to help me.
Of course, Mr. Martin. I'll try. But there are a number of things to do first. We'll have to have one or two more consultations. Full history detailed. On the basis of the facts, I'll know better how to approach it, or whether to approach it at all. Sometimes this procedure can be, dangerous. If the person had a severely aggressive nature, for example, I'll have to know all about it.
What do you want to know?
Everything. In cases of electrophonic ectoplasmic phenomena, we need to know everything. And if there are complications of nuclear nature, we must proceed carefully, very carefully.
How much will all this cost?
That depends on what we find in the preliminary consultations. This interview will be $500. The next, perhaps $700.
$1,200.
A decision. But you must tell me everything.
Yes.
Now, let's get started, shall we? The woman's name, Gloria?
Gloria Denham.
And when did she die?
15 years ago.
Now, Mr. Martin, what exactly was your relationship to her?
We were engaged to be married.
I see. And, of course, you must have had disagreements, fights at times. Will you tell me the exact nature of such arguments?
Have you lost all your reason?
It's the only way, Ellen. Believe me, it's the only way. I've got to beat this thing. I can't let Gloria go on.
Stop it. Sick and tired of hearing about Gloria and Gloria's ghost. You're just trying to hurt me, Jeff.
No.
You're trying to hurt me and ruin yourself. Oh, let me.
Ellen.
Hello.
Jeff, darling.
Who is it?
Jeff.
Who is it?
Ellen.
Gloria. It was Gloria. I heard her voice. Oh, but that's impossible, Jeff. It's impossible. Isn't it?
And then what happened?
I left.
Yes?
I just left, that's all.
I have a feeling there's more to it, Mr. Martin, and you must tell me.
No, there's no more to it. I told you I left. I just left. I never saw her after that.
Now, come, Mr. Martin. There must be something you're holding back.
Stop it, will you?
I'll have to drop this case if you don't tell me.
All right, I killed her. Is that what you want to hear?
Did you?
Yes. I killed her that night. I killed Gloria Denham. Now are you satisfied? I killed her, and that's why she's come back after 15 years.
Confession is always good for a soul. For her, so I'm told. Jeff Martin, the guilt became too much for you, didn't it? Like a stone around your neck. What are you going to do? Huh? Oh, poor Jeff. He's being followed by guilt. Until he's found himself trapped in a living nightmare.
people. Oh, there are so many different kinds of them. And so many of them look like so many of the rest of them. And a few look exactly alike. Yeah, have you ever come face to face with someone in a crowd who looked exactly like you? Perhaps you've met someone who looks like a person you knew, or someone you knew very well. A person very close to you. For a split second, you're gripped with terror. It cannot be true. And you know why. It may be for the same reason Jeff Martin has. That person is not alive. I wonder what poor Jeff will do.
And then? Well, she fell hard. At first I thought she was only unconscious, but then when I couldn't bring her to, I knew she was dead. That was when I left. I left the apartment. Nobody ever questioned me. I was in the clear, I thought. I never heard about her again.
Have a drink, Mr. Martin.
Here you are. Thanks. In a way, it's a relief. A relief to tell somebody. It's been bottled up all these years. I feel better.
Of course.
Well, I guess you better call the police.
Now, Mr. Martin, please don't be so hasty. There may not be any need to call the police.
But I killed her. I'm a murderer.
Yes, I know. But we must recognize the real role. The police haven't bothered you for 15 years. Why invite trouble now?
Gloria's back. That's the trouble.
Gloria, we can deal this.
We can?
A difficult case, but I think I can do it. Yes, we must conduct a seance and put this ghost to bed once and for all.
How much will it be?
$4,000.
$4,000? Oh, no, I can't.
Now, you're a man of means,
But
Miss
that's
Martin.
all the money I have in the world. It's more than I've got.
All right. I won't press you, Mr. Martin. If you feel you can't afford it, you know best. But I feel it my duty to point out the risks you're running, the possible danger.
What do you mean?
You see, these cases of electrophonic ectoplasm are unique. And there are definitely nuclear photon complications. The woman Gloria has achieved after 15 years of sonic and visual representation. She's obviously a strong positron framework. An exceptional amount of beta gamma omega energy reserve. She will attain a material representation. And then,
Then what?
she has the power to kill. But if you can't afford the seance, Mr. Martin, I understand these things. I'm sorry I can't be of any more help, but my time is... Now, if you'll all be seated.
Any particular place?
You over there, Mr. Lacey.
All right.
Mr. Martin will take the central seat.
Yes.
Mrs. Martin?
Thank you.
Now, I think we're about ready.
Do we hold hands or anything?
As I've informed your husband, Mrs. Martin, I'm not a medium. My work is scientific. No, we don't hold hands.
Oh.
If you'll just place your palms on the electrodes, we'll have the contact we need. I sit here, you see, next to the controls. It's by means of these controls that we achieve the contact with the electrophonic ectoplasmic beam.
I see.
Gloria has succeeded in rearranging her energies into a representation of the life form once again. A remarkable feat, if I do say so. But, on the other hand, she's put herself in danger. We can trap her by means of this machinery, you see. A complicated circuit, but essentially an arrangement of cathodes and anodes that will create a magnetic flux and draw her into our sight. Trap.
I can't go through with it. No, I can't. Let me out of here.
Jeff, sit down.
Ellen, I can't.
You can. Sit down, Jeff. Sit down.
All right.
Now, I think we're ready. Mr. Lacey, will you turn out the lights?
Sure.
Good. Now, I'll set the controls. Now, please don't be frightened.
What's that?
Just adjusting the frequency, Miss Martin. She can vary her wavelength, too, you know. And that way she tries to evade us. But we'll get her.
What's that?
We've nabbed her. She can't escape now.
Let me out of here.
Sit down, Jeff. Sit down. I want to see this.
There she is.
Oh. Is it her, Jeff? Gloria?
Yes, it's Gloria.
She's fluorescent. She glows.
Gloria, what do you want? Why don't you leave me alone? Why do you...
Jeff. Oh, Jeff, you poor darling.
Don't you dare call my husband darling.
Be quiet, Ellen.
You poor darling, Jeff. I forgot.
Oh, Gloria.
That's why I came back, Jeff. I didn't want you to suffer.
You certainly succeeded. The poor man hasn't had a day's peace for months.
Gloria, I didn't mean it.
I know that. That's why I came back to tell you I know that.
Gloria.
You hussy! I'm his wife! You couldn't hold him, but I did. You hear that? You hussy!
Oh, Jeff, darling, I feel so sorry for you. You're so lonely, aren't you? Oh, if I could only come back completely, I'd make you so happy.
You ghost! I dare you hard and fight me like
Don't
this!
sit down, Ellen. Mrs. Martin, you'll destroy the image.
That's what I intend to do once and for all. Ellen, don't! Just turn on the lights! What? Don't turn that thing in here! Turn on the lights! Or darling! Let's do it! Let's do it! Well, that's the light!
No, don't. She'll go away.
You let go of me! Let go! You hurry! Oh, with pleasure! Now, You can turn off that fake machinery, Mr. Cole, and disconnect that microphone.
Microphone? Yes. Yes, I suppose I don't need it any longer, do we?
Gloria.
Yes, there's your ghost, Jeff. She's as alive as I am. Well, you're alive is questionable. Shut up.
Gloria, I don't understand. You're not dead.
All right, Mr. Cole. Now you can return my husband's $4,000.
Well, now...
Well, what?
Nothing. Of course I'll return it. This was your fault, Lacey. You suggested his wife be here.
Don't blame me, Cole. I did my best. You were in on it, too. You...
Now, wait a minute, Jeff.
Stop it. There's a better way to wind this up. Huh? Go on, Jeff. Don't just stand there.
Oh, yeah.
No. Really, Mrs. Martin, is this necessary? It was only a little joke.
But the laugh's on you. Oh, for heaven's sake, look what you did to my nylon. Oh, good.
Hello. Hello, police?
And so it was an awful dream the poor man had, one that left him running crazy mad. Do not be afraid or harbor doubts about the mind, unless the eye of the mind goes blind. Go your way and see quite free. These things never happen to you or me. Oh, I do hope you'll sleep tonight. No, I will. I think I'll have something warm before I retire, and then off to some pleasant dreams.